Welcome to our community meeting number 2 for Ferdinand T. Day Elevated Gymnasium Project. My name is Azuka Bartlett. I'm with Alexandria City Public Schools facilities team. To support our presentation this evening, we have our school principal, Rachel Dishner. We have our design build team, Hort Copeland Mott and Whiting Turner. Also, we have our representative from our safety and security team, John Contreras. During our first committee meeting, we briefly discussed why we were doing this project. And that was basically we successfully converted the office building into an elementary school, but we had a couple of challenges. One of those challenges was meeting the educational specification requirements for physical activity space. And therefore, to meet that specification, we are working on this gymnasium project, as well as it incorporates the stage and performance space and assembly opportunities for our families and students. Since our first meeting, we have further developed our design, and that would be one of our agenda topics this evening. Our second topic that we will be discussing is the site logistics during the construction, starting the summer of 2020. And we're hoping to answer some of your questions that we have received during community meeting 1. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to our design team.
Good evening. I'm Paul Lund with Hort Copeland Mott. I'm the principal in charge for the project. I will just click this here. Okay, as Azuka said, we're here to give a presentation, our second presentation, follow-up of our first. Our agenda is pretty straightforward. You've had the introductions. We'll go through the site review and the existing conditions. And then we'll look at the proposed design first from the outside. We'll kind of start our way outside and then come in. And then we'll talk about a little bit about the temporary construction impacts. As Azuka said, we have representatives here from our design build partner, Whiting Turner. They can answer any of the specifics. And then we'll talk about the next steps and open it up for questions and answers. So this is our team. You've heard a number of the names, so I won't go through it. We do have a series of consultants as well that's on the bottom list here. So our site, and I'll just point to this. We're sitting in the existing school about here. I think everyone knows the garage is here, and we have access and drop-off currently occurring here, and then fire and emergency access that runs in this direction. We have Beauregard Street to the top with a 50-foot setback. We have Rayburn Avenue, Highview Lane. We have the parking garage here, and then the adjacent office building here. You see at the bottom the sun angle, so we look carefully at the sun to make sure that the building's getting enough natural light. This project is in blue, so it's a new gym with the gym volume, the higher gym volume being this rectangle, and then the support sort of around it. It's a pretty clear and clean diagram. The unique thing about it is it's elevated and it's connecting this building to the parking garage while allowing access underneath. There are several project goals that we should just go through. Provide a larger gym than the current physical space, exercise space that we're in. This is that room now. It'll have a new stage, which will accommodate a lot of programs at the school that have been so successful. We'll provide a permanent enclosed connection between the school and the playground. Right now, there is a bridge connection on the 3rd floor that connects over. This will be an indoor and condition. And then we'll get more storage space for the gym, stage, and the school. And then one of the other goals, obviously, is to make sure it fits into the context. And there have been a lot of people that we've reached out to and collaborated with, including not only the school system, but the city of Alexandria. So the proposed design, this is axonometric. So if we look at letter A, that's the existing school building. Again, we're down in this location. That's the elevator core and the stair tower we added at A. The gym building is B, with the larger gym volume and the support in the gray color, and in the pink color, the new gym. C is the stair tower to the existing parking garage, and D is the existing parking garage. The building will sit, as I said, between the parking garage and the office building at the third floor line. Okay, so floor plan level 1. Really, the building has a minimal impact to this level, and it's primarily just this stair. So this is one of the stairs, emergency stairs out of the gym. And there'll be a series of columns that are carefully located around the existing drive aisle and existing stormwater management, trying to maintain as much as we can. We are utilizing one of the piers, the foundations to the existing bridge. The third floor plan, building in addition will connect in at 2 levels, 2 corridor points. One here will go past the PE office, so that's an occupied office. You come in to the main gym space. Below that is a stair, and above it is storage. This will be the platform or stage that will be used by the school. And above that is a corridor which replaces what you see here in this dashed red line, the old bridge that connected. That'll be removed and it'll be replaced by this corridor that, as I said earlier, will be conditioned. Also a couple of toilet rooms here, some storage, an electrical closet, and a vestibule that then connects to the top of the existing parking garage, which is where the playground is for the existing school. There's some specificity here. We don't need necessarily go through it, but just in summary, it's at the third floor, as I indicated before, has a stage, and it's a gym that's right-sized for this school. On the exterior, so when we were looking at the exterior of the building, we looked very carefully at the addition we had done previously when we turned the office building into the school, at least the first 4 floors. We had used metal panel, we had used brick, we had looked at the solar orientation and dealt with sunshades and devices. And then we also kind of announced its entry with both a signage and a canopy that's welcoming, that also provides the security for the students to the school. This is our proposed design. So this is the existing building you see here. This is the gym addition, and this is the parking garage. So you can see what we tried to do is we have utilized metal panel system for the cladding of the building with kind of a reddish brick color for the main box of the gym, with the support spaces using a gray. That is the fire stair I pointed out earlier. A close-up shows you the gym volume that is suspended. It shows you drop off and pick up, which Pete Bloom and I office will go into in just a minute. It shows you how you can drop off and pick up after the construction is complete. We have sun shading devices, as well as nice open views to the sunlight for the students. And then we have a fire stair that is open and utilizes some of the existing bridge to clad and protect the occupants of that fire stair. This shows you the existing garage core, which has elevators and stairs, and then the parking garage beyond. So the aluminum panel has a texture to it, has a raised sort of vertical fin, and it has a kind of a staggered coursing. We're trying to tie that back to the original school in both its design concept. When you get to the stair and the other support, it's a more quiet gray metal panel that's stack bond general. Pete will get into the details in just a second. Pete, let's transfer this over.
Paul said, I'm Pete Bloom. I'm with Hort Copeland Mock Architects. I've been working with the school and Whiting Turner on this project for some time now. And what we have here is, this is a set of drawings. They're kind of abstract. They're called elevations, and it's a projection of each elevation of the building as though you're floating in the air looking at the elevation straight on. This is a view as though you're in the air looking at the south elevation of the school, which is the main elevation you'll see as you pull up to the school drop-off. It shows the metal panel calls referring to some of the shadows from the sunshades, and then it shows the new fire stair right here. This is an elevation in a section. This is as though you're standing at that wall at the east end of the gym, looking through the new construction. And this shows the raised volume of the gym beyond. It shows some of the large windows at the corner. It shows some of the new interior space, the PE office, the storage room. It shows an egress stair here, and then there's also an egress stair in the back of the building as well. This is a view from North Beauregard, the backside of the building. You see there's a one-story element here where we have storage in the corridor that serve the back of the building. There's a mechanical equipment screen up here where we're going to have our mechanical equipment that provides all the cooling and heating for the building. And then you can see beyond that, you have the two-story volume of the gym. This is a view as though you're standing on the playground looking at the new addition. The children's playground is on the foreground. On the top level of the parking garage, you'll see these large windows into the gym. The school is beyond over here. Here again you see the mechanical screen, and then this is the one-story element having a corridor that kind of comes out and has a window at the end of it right there. The interiors we've spent a lot of time developing now, and we focus of course on the gym. And here you can see this is a proposal for what the gym would look like as though if you were standing at the east end of the building looking toward Beauregard, or I'm sorry, if you were standing up at Beauregard looking towards the south, you would see this is a large corner window. A lot of sunlight can come in through these windows. We have really playful, colorful ducts up in the ceiling with these fabric ducts like we have in this room here. We have bright blue pads, again like this space here. And we have a datum of blue paint that goes up to the top of the door frames, goes around the entire room to establish a base. And then most prominently you see is that we've exposed the structural system in this space. The school is a STEM school, and we wanted to use the structural system as a didactic tool so that the students could see the structural system at work. So we've suppressed the color of it to make it more subdued because there's so much going on. With the exception of the diagonals, this is diagonal bracing for lateral loads, and we call that out as the separate blue. So we have that blue which calls out all the diagonal lateral bracing. Everything else is a structural component, but it's not articulated individually. This is a view looking from that big window back toward the stage, up toward the Beauregard end of the building. And you can see that we propose a large stage curtain here behind these play courts. We'll have basketball hoops in the space, and we'll have, like this room, we'll have floor markings for soccer and for volleyball. We'll have provisions for volleyball sleeves. And then there are going to be 2 basketball hoops on each side so they can have cross-court play, and then there's going to be a basketball hoop at each end so they can have full court play as well. And then the volleyball court will be oriented the long way facing toward the stage. Again, you can see that the green ducts are fun. The school's emerging colors are blue and green, so we picked up on that. So that's why we kind of limited these accents to blue and green. And we're reusing this climbing wall in the new space as well. So we're taking down and relocating to the new space elements from here. And we'll have them on the east wall of the gym. And up here, we're going to include a statement about the school, one of the school slogans up here in the space. During construction, there will be some disruption to normal patterns of activity in the school, and we wanted to address some of those that came up in our first presentation. So I wanted to reiterate that the school and the playground are going to remain open while construction is going on. Safety fences are going to be put up during construction to prevent children from being able to get into the site, and in fact prevent passers-by from getting into the site. Food delivery to the school is going to be disrupted. Its normal delivery place is right here at the end of the parent drop-off. There's a loading dock, and it will need to move to Rayburn Avenue, and we have a slide later that will show you where that is. And then most importantly is really that Whiting Turner, our general contractor, is going to work closely with the school to work around events and daily scheduling, so that for one, they won't schedule deliveries to the construction site during drop-off and pickup times for the students because how busy the site is then. So they're working closely with the school and ACPS to figure out what events they need to plan around, and they're just building that into their schedule. This is kind of a site plan showing some of the elements of the site. Over here, A, this is the existing entry to the school. This B is the bus drop-off loop. G is going to be a new door that we're going to put right in the room, the corner of the room over there. We're going to relocate that door to this door to provide access out there so that during construction, there will be two means of egress directly out of the gym that way. And this is going to remain the garage access. This will be the parent drop-off loop access in the future. This is going to be one of the egress stairs. This is the secondary egress stair. And if you want to go to the playground, you'll see we have some other slides. You'll come to this existing lobby where there's both a set of stairs and some elevators. This is a diagram showing, this is kind of a blow up of the site that you just saw, focusing in on the space between the garage building here and the school building here. And what we've shown is really, this orange line is the limits of this disruption to the site, and we'll have a fence around all of that so that the children can't get in. And then the purple area will be the limits of disturbance, where this is really the limits of what we think is going to be dug up during construction. And then this, importantly, this is currently the pedestrian crossing to the garage. And that's going to remain open during construction. And what's going to happen is students will cross across here, and in order to prevent or provide as much safety as possible, there's going to be netting, construction netting, hung off the south facade of the building to capture any items that might fall. And then this will be the proposed construction entrance right here. And this is just to show you a comparison of what our current car drop-off scenario is like today. This shows you how many cars would stack on site as the parent drop-off loop is in process. This is approximately 32 vehicles right now that can come and be not blocking traffic from North Beauregard down past the garage and all the way back up here. During construction, this area will not be available to the parents, so we've proposed this queuing and drop-off where approximately the same number of cars, 31 cars or so, and then some buses could queue from Beauregard down Highview and come up here. And when the buses are gone, because they generally come to the earth, more cars could actually pull in there to have even more queuing space. So this would be during construction for the months that we're still building the gym and school is open. Importantly, the children aren't going to be able to use the bridge over to the playground because that's going to be one of the first things that has to come down, taken out of the way. But during construction, their path to the gym will be safe, or to the playground will be safe. They'll come out the front door, they'll walk down the sidewalk, they'll come across the pedestrian connection, and then they'll use the stairs to go up to the playground. So that's going to be protected. Again, as I said, the netting will be over here so that if there were any stray debris, it would be This slide shows you some of the temporary changes to things like dumpster location and food deliveries. Because the current location for the dumpsters is back here, both garbage and recycling, and the food loading dock is right here, we're not going to have access to either of those locations, so we're going to propose moving the garbage and recycling out here to temporary pads on the site the trucks can back up to or pull in front into. And then over here, there's a location just off Rayburn where we're very close to a door into the cafeteria and then the kitchen. So we'll be able to have food deliveries there temporarily that are very close to the school. They don't have to travel very far. They're at the same elevation, so they have a sidewalk right from the street to the actual kitchen. So those are our proposals during construction for those temporary measures. And the process is ongoing. We are working on an upcoming presentation for the zoning commission and later on the city council in March. We're continuing to work on the design, and the permitting will be ongoing at least till the beginning of the summer. And then in the summer they want to begin construction, and then we hope to complete the building in the winter spring of 2021. Yes.
I just have a couple questions. The playground, how is that going to be affected during construction? Like, is the fence high enough to protect it, or are the nets going to be up high, like extend the fence kind of higher to protect the playground?
What's going to happen is that there's going to be a temporary orange fence. Well, this orange line represents a fence that we
Right.
built on the playground itself.
Okay.
So we will build a fence to keep the children away from that side of the building.
Okay.
Entirely. So we'll actually have some construction activity up here,
Mhm.
and then this fence will remain there as long as necessary during construction.
Now, something else that I noticed in the pictures of the new gym, the windows on that side are kind of like, to me, I know they're big windows, but they're kind of smaller windows. Part of what I like now is how visible the playground is to the school, but I feel like the gym blocks that. It kind of secludes the playground. Is that just in my mind, or like, is that something that like?
So you will be able to see the playground from the corridor because of the window that's in there.
Okay.
And we also have video cameras out on the playground, and we have security staff that patrols when students aren't there.
So
And
you
they're
still
only
have
there when
visible,
staff.
it's not really secluded, like you still have visibility of the playground?
Yes.
Okay. And I have one more question. The tree privacy. I really like the tree line back there because it kind of keeps the school separate from the main road. Are you going to affect that at all with the new construction?
No, along Beauregard, there's a 50-foot requirement for
Okay.
a building restriction line.
Okay,
And
all right.
this buffer is completely protected.
Perfect.
Nothing we do will either permanently or temporarily go into that zone. So,
Mhm.
so this new stair is the thing that comes closest to it, and even that's clear of it. So all these trees are going to be left alone, and you'll have all that tree coverage.
Okay.
The only, and in full disclosure though, there are a few very small trees that will be impacted that are planted along the garage
Yeah.
itself.
Right
Okay.
here.
So I was just thinking of like the majority of that line back there.
Mhm.
Okay. Is the top of the parking garage going to be completely blocked, like completely closed off then once the school is built to kind of keep the playground private to just the school? Because I know there's some spots up on the top of the garage, but like with the gym being in the way between the school and the parking lot. Is that, I know you guys, like it's really secure up there, I know that, but.
So what will remain up there are the existing egress gates that are used if there's ever an emergency on top of the playground and we had to evacuate that space.
Okay.
We have multiple areas with the push bar systems where
Yeah.
staff and students can get off the playground and come down the garage, down, not even through the garage, but down through the stairwells
Right. Okay.
that are there. Those systems, since the playground was built, there was additional work that safety and security helped to support by making sure that you couldn't push those push bars from around the
Okay,
corner,
gotcha.
things like that, to help with that.
Okay.
We also expect to relocate or put in a new security camera on the building as well, on
Okay.
the playground. Anything else?
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Oh, that's great. It's great. It's wonderful to hear.
And I think one of the, I don't want to say unintended consequences, but I think one of the things that a couple of parents have been asking about too, as when the playground was built, was shade.
Oh, yes.
And from having the building where it's located, it will provide some additional shade to the playground space at certain junctures.
Yeah, the height of the gym is substantial, and it'll be a good 15 feet above the top of the playground. So
Okay.
as the sun comes around during the day, you're gonna have a lot of shade on this side of the gym, or this side of the playground.
Okay. Now, how long do you expect the traffic to be impacted from construction? Like, obviously, probably until it's complete, but right now, there's some safety concerns of my own. Just walking along Rayburn and across Beauregard, but with the added car traffic to what's already there, like, how long is that gonna be? Or is there gonna be extra security, or can we get police officers out there to be there to help direct traffic and write citations for people who drive through crosswalks when people are walking?
Well, just, Rachel, please correct me if I'm wrong, but right now the city does provide police officers to control this intersection.
They're
That's not
actually not police officers. I mean, they are, but they're in a different capacity. They're parking enforcement officers. They can't do anything. They're not taking license plates or anything like that. I saw a guy get bumped by a car a couple weeks ago. The parking enforcement did nothing about it. They are only allowed to cross children, and in the morning with the extra school traffic, it's super busy. That even adults are not. People aren't paying attention coming through those crosswalks.
To my knowledge, that's not intended to change.
Okay.
In terms of how that's, and there's not going to be any additional traffic to the site except for actual construction workers.
Okay. But just like bringing the extra traffic around the front of the building instead of up into the loop, that's going to add the extra cars on Rayburn. That's
That's
going to
true.
cause the extra vehicle traffic in the mornings.
Yeah, right here. It will change the pattern. Instead of having everyone come out this way and going back out this way, people will be able to continue around this way, take a right there.
My concern is coming from, I live in this community over here, and I know a bunch of other parents do too, and already the cars that travel up and down this road, it's already stressful.
Are you
but
talking
adding
about
the vehicles?
This cross right here?
Yeah.
You done with that? Okay.
And we can pull up what the current traffic plan looks like. I have it and I can
Okay.
pull it out. But in our conversations a couple of weeks ago, when we spoke with the fire department, and then also invited the police department to have conversations about the traffic flow and patterns, we did bring up some of those concerns.
Okay.
In terms of that. Right now, we have one staff member out with the parking enforcement crossing guard at the corner of Beauregard and Rayburn. We have a staff member that's near the bus loop where we have parents that are making illegal three-point turns in the middle of Rayburn.
Yeah.
And we have anywhere from 3 to 4 staff members down outside the parking garage and parent kiss and drop loop to try and help ensure that parents are following the traffic pattern that we agreed to with the city. And we're in continual conversations with our security office as well as, and they're in communication with the police to try and see what else we can do. I've had a couple of conversations with police officers that have come by. There was one day that we actually had a police officer a patrolman filling in for whoever was out at the corner. And they were actually able to come and talk to a couple of parents. But my hope is that we would be able to have that happen on a more regular basis
Yeah.
to try and ensure the safety of our students. And another big reason why we're doing a lot of this stuff early is that if this is going to be the new traffic plan, we want to make sure we have multiple forums through PTA, through parent copies, that we can communicate what the plan is and what it is not, and get all of these drawings out to the community as soon as possible, so that when September comes, we can try and mitigate any confusion to the new plan.
And I feel like the teachers, the staff here, they have a place to be in the morning whenever my children are arriving. That I don't want them to be out in the middle of the road trying to cross job, like, and all they can do is tell the parents, like, you can't park here, or you have to keep moving, stuff like that. Like, they can't enforce anything really, and parents are like, whatever, what are they gonna do? Like, I feel like there needs to be a presence of someone who can do something to enforce this a plan that, like, hey, these teachers aren't out here almost, like, I mean, it's bad on this road in the morning. It's really not, and just adding more vehicle traffic just makes me nervous, I guess, is my concern.
So when we talk about how we're, and I recognize the difference between having a trained police officer there to help guide the traffic. What I can't commit to
Right. No,
to police staff,
I
but what will change with this plan in terms of school staffing, we would probably reduce the number of staff members we have on the side where the garage and the parent drop-off are, to ensure that we keep the garage clear for parents that are parking in the garage and then leaving. That flow of traffic would remain still out Highview. Sorry, yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So that traffic, anyone who's parking in the garage, my understanding is that we would still have all that traffic go back out through Highview so that we're not
Okay.
putting additional strain on Rayburn. And then the additional staff members that we had previously over here, we'd move over to this side. Because what's
Okay.
gonna be critical on this plan is that traffic now is only moving in this direction.
So it is going, I mean, because I know that was the original goal too, was to, it had to come around and not down Rayburn, but to come around Beauregard and Highview and
There's
Back out.
even now, there should be no parents that are turning, whether it's left off of Beauregard or right off of Beauregard or straight across the street. No parent traffic should be coming down this side. That's what our current traffic plan says. That's what's been communicated to families. That's what our staff, and I'm looking at Ms. Niedermeyer, who has been
Yep,
in that
you
role
know, yep.
before, telling parents that they can't do that.
right, and that's just it. Like, there was always only so much she could do,
Right.
and she was out there on top of them. But nobody listens. They come around, they loop around, they park behind this building over here,
Mhm.
and it's just because they
Yeah.
want to avoid traffic. And I get that. I get that. I really do. I've been a parent late, having to hurry, but it's just like there are other walkers that.
I wholeheartedly agree with you because I've stopped cars from doing 3-point turns in the crosswalk that's right here as kids are trying to cross. And we have kids that are sometimes crossing by themselves down here where there is no crossing guard. And that's something that we can control to some extent, is being able to talk to the kids and say, you have to cross where the crossing guard is unless you're with a grown-up. But we would reroute these staff members over here. In addition, we would have all of our staff members that are currently in the drop-off loop opening doors and helping get kids out of the cars. They would then be over here after the buses leave, so there'd be more of a staff presence on Rayburn. And we'll continue the conversations with our security department, and hopefully they'll be able to then continue those conversations with the police department in the city to see how we can get some additional support to ensure the safety of our
So
students.
is traffic then going to be held before, like, it's going to be stopped before the bus loop until the buses leave?
So the plan would be to put up a sign,
Okay.
parent drop-off line begins here.
Okay.
This would, because this road is more than a 2-lane road, no matter how many families are lined up here, the buses will still be able to get around and get
Right.
into that bus loop, which will continue to block off with cones until the buses
Okay.
arrive. The buses can pull in. Once the buses drop off the kids and are gone, we can remove the cones and have the line move up here until we're ready to unload all students. As of right now, typically on a normal day, the buses are getting here around 7:30. I would say any time between 7:20 and 7:40 is our pretty prime window for bus drop-off, but they're here pretty consistently unless there's a major delay. Both buses end up coming in the morning at 7:30. So
Okay.
by 7:35, when the buses
Yeah.
are unloaded, we'd actually be able to move that line up a little bit, and then we would officially start opening car doors at
Okay.
7:45.
So they are going to be, the parents are going to be able to pull up and park until 7:45.
They'll have to stand and stay in their vehicles, just like we
Right.
tell them now in the parent drop-off lane. They have to remain with their vehicle,
Okay, all
but
right.
we'll let them pull through. It's not going to be parking, it's going to be, standing.
Right, okay.
And currently, also this dimension along here is striped, so it's like an extra lane that's striped off.
Yeah.
And then you'd be able to drive through that when you're standing waiting.
And it shouldn't block the flow of other traffic. So if someone in your complex was coming out here, they'd still be able to make a left and go up Rayburn because these cars aren't actually in the lane of traffic.
Right. Now, does it make a difference? I know that like that is a fire lane right now. Is that going to make it, is that going to not be a fire lane, or that'll stay a fire lane type of thing?
Here you mean? Or
Yeah.
the signage here?
Both. Like there's just signs up that say like no parking fire lane. Like is that going to make a difference?
It's
I know
still not
temporary.
parking.
Right, okay, all right.
So so theoretically, in the
Because
event
they're
of an
still in the car.
emergency, and when the fire marshal looked at this, if the parents are staying in their vehicles like they're supposed to and they're not parking in those spaces, they're still able to move out of the way just like you would in a road if an
Right.
emergency vehicle was
Okay,
coming out.
all right. My house is on that road. Need a fire lane.
Anything else? Thank you very much. We appreciate your attention. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.